I would mute until it's your turn.
Okay, I think that's 30.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. I'm glad to welcome you to this meeting. I wish I was not having technological difficulties, but I am. And we are all technologically unsavvy in this household at this moment. So I have to do this through my phone and the iPad at the same time. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, here's the latest issue of PLR. This is the second reading. This is PLR 49, 2021. This is the second reading we're doing for this magazine. And I'm going to call your name and I'm going to read a bio of you, and then you read your poem. Don't talk, one poem only, even if you have 5 poems in the issue. Pick one poem to read because we have a lot of people to get through. So we don't want to take an inordinate amount of time. We don't want you frozen to your chair by the time this is over. Are you able to hear me? I'm a little worried about you.
Yes, I can hear you. We can hear you.
You can hear me. That's the main thing. So,
and I can see you. You're
welcome
beautiful.
you here. And I have to say that the Poetry Center, which publishes the Paterson Literary Review, is made possible by a grant from the Jersey State Council on the Arts, and also by support from Passaic County Community College and by individual donations and other sources of funding. And I want to thank all of those people who help support our efforts on behalf of trying to make poetry accessible to a lot of people. I'm going to start the first. I hope Lucille Langday is here. Is she? Yes, okay.
Yes, I'm here.
Lucille is an award-winning author of 11 poetry collections, 2 children's books, and a memoir. Our latest book is Birds of San Pancho and Other Poems of Place. She was the author, also the founder and publisher of Scarlet Tanager Books, and has co-edited 2 poetry anthologies. And her web page is https://LucilleLangday.com. Let's welcome Lucille.
Thank you. The poem I'm going to read is called The Women I've Envied, and this is a villanelle. The women I've envied are widowed or dead, with their yachts and crowns and best-selling books. I'm thankful for coffee this morning instead of all the world watching the day that I wed a prince or tycoon entranced by my looks. The women I've envied are widowed or dead, none saved by grand things that she did or said, tended by chauffeurs and butlers and cooks. I'm thankful for coffee this morning instead. I'd rather savor a slice of fresh bread than be a woman for whom the world shook. The women I've envied are widowed or dead. Each one knew loneliness, pain, and dread, while I strolled past lupin and murmuring brooks. I'm thankful for coffee this morning instead. I don't need a gown sewn with golden thread or a man of fame and fortune to hook. The women I've envied are widowed or dead. I'm thankful for coffee this morning instead. And here it is.
Wonderful.
Cheers.
Lisa, I saw you had your hand up and you were trying to tell me something. What was it?
I was trying to tell you that when we are reading, it might be good for you to mute yourself because there is an echo.
Okay.
That's too
So
difficult.
maybe I'll put myself on here. Just wait. The technological genius of the century. It is on mute already, but I can mute on here too.
But
Maria,
just when you're, yeah.
if you over there, then I can hear you. Nobody can hear you.
I hear the echo.
It's okay. Also, Francine just said, can you tell us the page number of the poem? When we read, maybe, we should say that. You don't have to say it, but the poet should say that.
The poet should say it. I don't want to
Yes.
be.
The poet should say that. And last but not least, because I know we're not supposed to talk, Smita, if at any
Yeah.
point something goes wrong,
I'm not shocked because you are showing in the recording.
What? I'm sorry, I'm having trouble.
Nothing, Maria, go ahead.
Go ahead. Okay. Our next reader is Linda Nemec Foster, and she's from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Let's welcome Linda.
Thank you so much, Maria. I apologize for my
I'm
voice.
very sorry, Linda. I was supposed to read you.
Oh yeah, please do.
screwing up.
Please do. Please.
Linda is the author of 11 collections of poetry, including a Lake Michigan Mermaid, a 2019 Michigan notable book. Her new book, The Blue Divide, is forthcoming in 2021 from New Issues Press. She was the first poet laureate of Grand Rapids and founded the Contemporary Writers Series at Aquinas College. Go, Linda. Linda, go ahead, read your poem.
Thank you, Maria. I apologize for my voice. I'm just getting over a very bad cold, so I apologize. My poem I'm going to read is on page 182 for Lisa and the others. And here it is. Arriving at the train station, the last place I saw Lara alive. It looks the same, but it doesn't. Death clouds the eyes, not with tears, but with the fog that comes with loss. You can see the train platform still there in the center of Vienna, in the center of Europe, but the faces are different. Hers gone. Look, she was young, younger than me, in her yellow linen dress, the color of a muted Viennese sun, and her fashionable white hat. Her husband, the distracted older man, was standing with her on the platform, waving goodbye. That was then, years ago, when she could still lift her arm in welcome or farewell. Now, no trace of our embrace at the station. The sleeveless summer dress, the pale arms, the spacious apartment she slept in, on the street where a deaf Beethoven composed his last symphony. Now it's vacant and empty, all part of memory's passing blur. The train arrives, the train departs, the city remains. Only the faces have changed. Her husband has moved on to another station. And I, the friend left behind, I too have moved on, the passenger lost in fog.
Wonderful, Linda. Thank you very much. Our next reader is also a Linda Hillinghouse, and she was the first place winner of the Allen Ginsberg Poetry Award and a second place winner of Nimrod's Pablo Neruda Prize for Poetry. Her work has appeared in Lips, New Ohio Review, Prairie Schooner, and elsewhere. Her new book is The Things I Didn't Know to Wish For from New York Quarterly Books. Linda, are you there? Is Linda there? Hello, Linda. Linda forgot. Okay, so then our next reader is going to be Dawn Lees. And is she there before I give her bio?
Yes, I'm here,
Dawn,
Maria.
okay.
I'm here.
Dawn is the author of A Person Worth Knowing. Take something when you go, and I know when to keep quiet. Something I never quite learned. Her work has appeared in Literary Mama, the Paterson magazine, Swim, San Pedro River Review, and elsewhere. She's a writing coach, editor, and teaching artist. Let's welcome Dawn Lees.
This poem is called I'm Not Don Colangelo Anymore, and it appears on page 205. Inside Northeast title and tag, we stand shoulder to shoulder. The line holds us up. Clip-arted flyers taped to fake wood paneling, plastic chairs in a compact space, people hoping for smooth transactions. From overhead speaker comes NPR poetry, lines from Patty's Charcoal Drive-In, mingle with your words, telling me to sign my name one last time. The strip mall sun blinds us. We walk shoulder to shoulder, our cars parallel lines. You won't look at me. I unhinge. Earlier that week, I visited our house, packed more boxes. Your to-do list on the fridge included, forgive Don Colangelo. When our marriage was young, I signed a receipt, Don Colangelo. You looked over my shoulder and said, that isn't your name anymore. Now, here you are, changing me back. Outside Northeast title and tag, there's something about the stale summer wind, how it gathers many tornadoes of dust, how it lifts what others left behind, making empty bags and used cups dance together. That gives me back my voice to spit and spin. Look at me, look at me.
Wonderful. Oh, I'm telling you, don't we have wonderful poems in PLR? Our next reader is Gina Marie Liotta. Is she here? Gina?
I'm here.
Oh,
I'm
there
here,
you are,
Maria.
darling. Okay. Her writing has appeared in the Sierra Nevada Review, the Healy Muse, Slate, Lips, and the Paterson Literary Review, where she has twice received honorable mention for the Allen Ginsberg Poetry Awards. She's a first-generation college graduate of the creative writing program of SUNY Binghamton. Let's welcome Gina Liotta.
Thank you. My poem appears on page 150 and 151, a poem about saying goodbye to a friend. You sent a text, one sentence. I'm moving back to Georgia to be closer to my dad. This is how we say goodbye during a pandemic. We last saw each other a year ago in August. You just got that big promotion and had 30 minutes for lunch. And we ran into Mrs. Shores, who wanted to tell us all about the boat and the garden party for Peyton's graduation and Chelsea's first semester at NYU, as the minutes ticked down to the moment when my milk came rushing in and I needed to go home and try and fail to nurse my second son, and you needed to get back to the school. We said nothing of much consequence, but that's okay, because now that you are head teacher, you will be in town more and we will see one another more often. Except then I hurt my back and couldn't walk for 2 months, and my baby had torticollis and he needed to be held all the time, lest his head twist into a permanently crooked shape. And my mother's son needed speech intervention, and the college wanted to stop paying my health insurance. And then your mother died, and soon it was Christmas. We would meet at the Barefoot Drummer, but then you got that horrible cold, and we didn't want to risk passing it along to the kids before the holidays. So we would meet in January, and I waited for you to text me, and you did. When the world stopped in March to see how I was holding up, you were going back to Georgia to wait out the COVID with your dad, rather than sit in your stable apartment alone, like you did during Superstorm Sandy, without heat or hot water for weeks. You arrived to find a home overrun with squirrels, your dad chasing them with golf clubs throughout the house, and you decided it was time to retire 20 years too young and to take care of him. I told you my porch is always open for a masked visit 6 feet apart. If you are ever in town, 6 years ago, when I left our job, you told me not to be offended, that you wouldn't speak at my going away luncheon. You don't say those kind of goodbyes. When I gathered my students together to explain why I needed to move on, you left the room. I told you I finally found those old horse trails, the ones you spent 19 years looking for at Brittany Creek, where you can hike into the woods so far that you forget for a minute you are in suburbia. The perfect socially distant afternoon. We will go if you ever return to New York. This is how we say goodbye in a pandemic.
Oh, Gina, you're so wonderful. I do love you. That's a great poem. Okay, I got a text from Linda Hillinghouse, who says she's here and she doesn't know why we can't hear her. Smita, can you help me?
Yeah, I just let her in, Maria.
Okay, let her in. Are you there, Linda?
She's still joining, so give her a little time.
Okay, well, I'll go on to the next
Give
person.
her a little time.
Is she there?
Not yet.
Okay, well, I'm going to call on Eleanor Matern. Is Eleanor Matern there?
No, she's gonna be out, Maria, remember?
Oh, no, I didn't.
No, I'm
remember.
here. Eleanor Madden is
Oh,
here.
no, she's there, she's there.
I'm here. Hello.
Linda's there?
Eleanor Madden is here.
Eleanor is there.
Okay.
Eleanor Madden is
Eleanor is
definitely
there.
here.
Eleanor teaches writing, teaches about writing, communication, culture, and creativity in New Jersey and Pennsylvania, as well as at Technical University in Prague. Her poems are now nonfiction, have appeared in journals and newspapers, including Washington Square and the Philadelphia Inquirer, and she is also a visual artist. Let's welcome Eleanor.
Thank you, Maria and Mitra. Fitting room. If you just lose 5 pounds, oh, I'm sorry, I don't know the page number. I don't have the book right here. Fitting room. If you just lose 5 pounds, she'd say every other day when I was in high school, then you'd be perfect. But it wasn't just any 5 pounds. I always knew my mother meant that extra ear growing from my left shoulder blade. So many times I cursed it, wished it were a wing instead, though what good is one? And it did help me hear what I was never allowed to say.
Wonderful, Eleanor.
Thank you.
That's really good. Okay, so do I have Linda or not? Yes? Okay, Linda, are you there? Answer me, honey.
She's there.
Unmute, can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you, honey. Okay,
Okay.
good. Let me
Sorry.
welcome Linda Hillinghouse was the first place winner of the Allen Ginsberg Poetry Award and the second place winner of Nimrod's Pablo Neruda Prize for Poetry. Her work has appeared in Lips, New Horizon, Ohio Review, Prairie Schooner, and elsewhere. Her new book is The Things I Didn't Know to Wish For from New York Quarterly Books. Let's welcome Linda Hillinghouse.
Thank you. Oh, this is page 35. Out of Paterson, for Mark. From the tall windows of your loft, we could see the dark tangles of vines in the ruins of the mills, where men and women toiled not that long ago to make silk for the rich and guns for Union soldiers. But it might as well have been ancient Rome, for we just lived to numb the past. There was no will or hope to counteract our birth, and separately we crept over the walls of those worlds where our lives had cast no shadows, and we went to the river where our fathers had watched the car races and fireworks from Hinchcliffe Stadium, and we sent our sad shoes over the falls, and above us, the stars disavowed their malediction. And in this new universe, the boats carried our old beds out of Paterson. And I see it now, that something was going on that night, and we bore the terror of our nakedness with a twig of faith that had fallen from a tree in some Good Samaritan's dream.
Wonderful, Linda. Beautiful poem. Is Francesca here? Francesca Maxime? Francesca? Yes or no?
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I'm right
She's
here.
there, Maria.
Oh, you're here. Okay. I can't tell. It's broken onto little pictures and somehow they're not on the same page.
No,
Oh,
that's okay.
Francesca is the first prize winner of the 2019 Allen Ginsberg Poetry Awards and the award offer of 2 full volumes of poetry, Rooted, a verse memoir, and Rerouted, verse for the human animal. Francesca is a licensed psychotherapist and certified mindfulness meditative teacher and life coach in Brooklyn, New York. Let's welcome Francesca Maxime. Go ahead.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Paterson Literary Review. Thank you, Maria, for publishing me again. Issue 49, 2021. This is called Home, Binghamton. It's on page 224. Poem is called Home. Binghamton always felt proud to me, a place that had weathered the storm and was still standing. Cracked and beaten into gray matter, the way driftwood gets after being outside after both gale and cyclone, so much rain and sand pelting. How much can a place like that take and still know its own spine? The people there, alive with life, simple pleasures, dance recital, homemade stew, a yard for a dog to bark in. I wonder how long these cities can hold on to the life we once thought was a given. I wonder how much these rugged places and their people have to teach us about whatever we may have yet to brace for, about whatever it is that comes next.
Wonderful, beautiful poem, Francesca. Our next reader is Stephen Paul Miller. Is he here? Stephen, do I see you? Do I hear you?
Yeah, here I am. Here I am.
Okay, here you are. Where? Oh, here it is. Okay, hi, Stephen.
Hi.
Stephen Paul Miller, professor of English at St. John's University in New York City. He's the author of several poetry books, including the forthcoming The Always Already from Marsh Hawk Press, Being with the Bullet Talisman, and There's Only One God, and You're Not It, Marsh Hawk. Let's welcome Stephen Paul Miller.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me. I don't have the book where I am, so I'm going to read another very short poem. Okay. She asks me if I can identify a particular moment. You mean the moment, I answer, when I become the cliff I hover over and time goes out with the tide? Yes, she says, that's the moment. 2, we cuddle. What else is important? Trump is born right after Hitler dies, and you say not much improvement, but I say baby steps. How unusual to have a body rising in love.
Wonderful.
Okay,
thank you.
Thank you.
Our next reader is Wayne L. Miller. I hope Wayne is here.
Here.
And are you here, Wayne?
Yep.
Wave at me. Was born in Brooklyn. His work has been published in Pank, Art Poetry Magazine, PLR, Lips, Statiric, Edison Literary Review, Essex 13, Narrative Northeast, and Turtle Island Quarterlies. Sometimes when he writes is not poetry and never can be. Wayne L. Miller.
This is called Indivisible, page 215. There was no yellow as I sat watching the corner traffic light from our 6th floor terrace. During a color change, both red and green would be lit for a second. Being only 3 years old, I didn't think of the mechanics. I just watched. When we moved away, there were yellow lights, but I was no longer interested. While Mom registered me for kindergarten, students in a gym class walked around a maypole, each holding a streamer. I looked forward to doing this, but it never happened. Teachers told me to wear a white shirt and string tie to assembly and to pledge allegiance to a flag with 48 stars. I knew that Alaska and Hawaii had joined a few years before, so I wondered what it meant to pledge allegiance to the wrong flag.
Wonderful, Wayne, your usual sardonic humor. Thank you. Is Greg Moya here? Greg? Okay, since I don't hear him, I'm assuming he's not there. Greg? Okay, our next reader is Francine Montemoro, and I saw her, so I know she's there. Was born a Wednesday's child in Yonkers, New York. She lives in Boston with her amazing husband and her deaf chihuahua, both of whom keep her on the straight and narrow. Let's welcome Francine Montemoro.
Hi, Maria. Hi, everybody. So this poem is on page 157, and it's called Mingling with Ghosts. Mingling with Ghosts. Here in Murano Calabro, a place full of vistas and promise, I rest on a bench in the sun with a head full of poems to write and a bone-deep fatigue I hope will pass. Last time I was in southern Italy with my killjoy companion, I hauled my own luggage on my back and pulled hers on broken casters down Matera's cobbled streets. I was hardy then, like the tiny succulents that grow here between stepping stones. My lungs were whole and willing while I searched out cave churches and followed footpaths I could never retrace. I got lost, I got scared, and always I found my way back by dinner. On this return trip, I imagine my ancestors whose sagas go back 1,000 years. Sad-eyed and thin as scarecrows, they turned huge millstones like the ones mortared in the walls surrounding my guest house. I had come here to mingle with their ghosts, but end up reuniting with my own. My earlier self, who was fearless and unmoored, is today less one lung, short of breath, and chaperoned always by the angry scar running down my breastbone. That self, now gone to softness, mocks me as I favor riding over walking, elevators over stairs, and sleeping in over scheduled outings. That self, now as far away as the lives of my ancestors, has earned at least a salute for the self-made, sure-footed woman I remember while I rest on a bench in the sun with a head full of poems to write and a bone-deep fatigue I fear will never pass.
Wonderful, Francine. Beautiful poem. Our next poet is Steve Nickman, but I want to make sure he's here. Is he? Steve Nickman? No. Okay, Lisa Call Nicolau is here. I saw her. Teaches and writes in New Jersey. For the past 4 years, Lisa has enjoyed her role as a visiting poet in the Paterson schools. Her poetry and prose have been published in a variety of journals. In 2016, she shared first prize in the Alexander Ginsberg Poetry Contest for her poem, My True Religion is Kindness. Let's welcome Lisa Cole Nicolau.
Thank you. My poem is on page 104, entitled On Sundays, We Would Gather for Lunch. On Sundays, we would gather for lunch like clockwork, always at my aunt's house, never once at ours. I loved Sundays, the meals of roast pork and fried plantains and rice and beans. But most of all, I loved to be with my grandmother, who I named Ayiya instead of Abuelita. I liked to stand to her left in the galley kitchen while she cooked without a recipe, speaking little, but welcoming me softly into her safe space in front of the small window, giving me a taste of the food before it was served. I remember being enveloped in her bubble of love, not noticing that the men in the family, always ate first. Not until I was far away from those Sunday lunches and taking my first women's studies class at college did I realize the inequity of this weekly ritual. I made it my life's work to create camaraderie and equality around my own dining room table, surrounded by my own family and friends, expanding the fragile bubble from a year that allowed me to survive.
Oh, lovely, Lisa. Such a beautiful poem. Our next writer is Joey Nicoletti, and he's the author of, is Joey here? I think I saw him say something in the chat, so I think he must be here. Is the author of 4 poetry books and 4 chapbooks, most recently Boombox Serenade from Blaze Vox Press in 2019. His Pushcart Prize nominated work has appeared in numerous journals and anthologies, including Ethalon, Valparaiso Poetry Review, and Avantiga Siamo. Nicoletti teaches at SUNY Buffalo. He's on Twitter and Instagram at Joey Nicoletti. Let's welcome Joey Nicoletti. Where are you, Joey? I know you're here.
I'm right beside you, Maria. Happy almost Thanksgiving, everybody. It's great to see you. Great to be with everyone. Poem I'm going to read for you is on page 234 of this wonderful edition. Thanks for having me in it. It's from my newest book, which is called Fan Mail. And this is fan mail. Name of the poem is to a baseball player named Rico Petrocelli. This is called, unoriginally, to Rico Petrocelli. Dear Mr. Petrocelli, I won your 1975 baseball card in a 10-card flip. I didn't know about you before then, but when I read your full name, Americo Peter Petrocelli, on the back of the card, I could taste my Nonus Pizzelles, sweet and flaky in my mouth. When I read that you are a Brooklyn native, I was a Ferrari speeding across the Williamsburg Bridge. I brought your card with me as a good luck charm when I went to Friday night bingo with my grandparents. We all won money. People mumbled. When my grandparents died, your card was smooth armor in my sports coat pocket. As I look at your picture on this muggy late July morning, your smile is a turnpike, taking me and my grandparents to Fred's, their favorite diner. I see this card beside a plate packed with pancakes, 4 smoked sausages, and corned beef hash. Dots of hot sauce on my sleeves. Thanks so much.
Wonderful, Joey. You're so amazing. Our next poet is Kurt Olson. Is he here? Kurt Olson, yell if you're here. If not, we're going on to Rochelle Parker. And I know she's here. Is the Nashua Docs, I don't know, born Brooklyn bred. Her work appears in Tupelo Quarterly and others, as well as the following anthologies: The Breakbeat Poets, Volume 2, Black Girl Magic, and The Poeming Pigeon, Poems About Food. She was selected as the Furious Flower Poetry Prize winner. Let's welcome Rochelle Parker.
Hello, everyone. That's NASA Latkes. Maria, everyone has a problem with that. Don't worry about it.
I can't.
It's fine.
I'm having difficulties anyway, but
it's only because I was born there. Do I know how to say it?
Say that. Say it again.
NASA Latkes. Yes, perfect. So I'm very happy to be in this Paterson Literary Review, issue 49. Thank you very much. And my poem is on page 181. Thank you, Lisa. And it's an empty plate and glass are on the table, and Daddy's got cookie crumbs in his beard. An empty plate and glass are on the table, and Daddy's got cookie crumbs in his beard. Got me a doll baby this morning. Her eyes are brown, her skin the color of rasped nutmeg, and her hair is coiled tightly to her head. Santa must have read my letter. He must have known who was naughty or nice, known that I was tending other people's babies the way Mama did at the Brighams. How she kissed their cheeks till pink, swept their hair behind their ears, how she sometimes didn't have enough left to give once she was home. He must have known that I had a lot of love to give to my own baby doll.
Oh, so wonderful, Rochelle. I love you, girl.
I love
Okay, is Penny Perry there?
I'm here.
California, are you here?
My
Oh,
poem
hi,
is on
darling.
page-
Penny
Hi.
Perry is a 6-time Pushcart nominee, is the author of the poetry collection Santa Monica Disposal and Salvage, and the knowledge novel Selling Pencils and Charlie, both published by Garden Oak Press. Penny Perry, let's welcome her.
Thank you. Jenny's Latkes. Just the sweet smell of onions and potatoes browning in hot oil led me down dark stairs from my grandparents' house to the basement apartment my great aunts called home. Jenny stood at the stove. She had wisps of gray and strawberry blonde hair. An apron curved over her belly, a belly that once had housed her only child, the one she was forced to give away. Jenny mangled 2 languages, Yiddish and English. Like me, she was a little slow, and latkes were a work of art. Over the sizzle of oil and Aunt Bella's singing of market prices, bumblebee salmon, 49 cents. Aunt Jenny smiled her secret smile and waited for the moment before the oil spattered to nudge her cakes with a spatula. One quick flip, the sizzle now a hum, then onto a plate. She presented her golden brown cakes to me. The lightness, oh, the lightness of those satisfying cakes. Grandma knocked on the door one holiday morning. She seldom interrupted my visits with her sister. She said Bella would report everything word for word later. That morning, she told us Jenny had a visitor, a man with polished shoes, gray flannel slacks and jacket, and strawberry blonde hair, stepped down the stairs. He stared at me, then Aunt Bella, then the woman who stood, spatula in hand, at the stove. Now, a great aunt, I grate potatoes until my fingers turn red, a winter morning ritual, filling my kitchen with those old sweet smells. Like Jenny, I wait and watch my life take the shape of art.
Wonderful, Penny. I'm telling you, we have such good poets, don't we? The next poet is Jason Craig Poole, and he's a musician, writer, and teacher of Hawaiian music and culture. His work has appeared in the Paterson Literary Review and Riksha, I'm sure I'm saying it correctly. He lives in Pennsylvania with his family in a house under the trees. His story and songs are part of the documentary Sons of Halawa. Let's welcome Jason Poole.
Hi, everybody.
I know I saw you before.
I'm
Hi,
here.
Jason.
I'm here. Thanks, Maria. This poem is called Starfish, and it appears on page 226. My 2-year-old son is a starfish. Well, at least he thinks so. And he's actually pretty convincing when he splays his arms and legs as wide as he can and makes them as stiff and unbendable as steel beams on the cold tile of the grocery store, on the cold tile floor of the grocery store, usually in the aisle where the boxes of mac and cheese seem to call his name. It turns out starfish don't like to be told, no, not today. We already have 5 boxes at home. Angry starfish can be impossible to pick up from the floor. I always thought starfish were silent, but my little starfish can scream as loud as a fire alarm when he doesn't get his way, and make other shoppers hurry past us with worried looks. But other parents will often give a sympathetic smile, and sometimes they'll say, hang in there, Dad, and give a thumbs up because they know how 2-year-old starfish can be. I always thought starfish were beautiful when I passed them on a beach walk. Now I know those lying in the sand were dried, already gone. I have the pleasure of spending time with a very much alive toddler starfish who is beautiful, even when he's a fearsome creature of the sea. Thanks.
Wonderful, Jason. So good. Jennifer Poteet, is she here? Jennifer?
I am indeed here. Hi,
Where,
everybody.
Doc?
Happy
Where?
to be here.
Oh, I see you. Okay. Jennifer is a longtime Montclair, New Jersey resident and works in New York City as a fundraiser for public television. Her work has been published in the Court and Review, the Journal of New Jersey Poets, Railroad Review, the Paterson Literary Review, and many others. A chapbook book, Sleepwalking Home, was published by Dancing Girl Press in 2017. Let's welcome Jennifer Poteet.
Thank you, Maria. Happy to be here today. I'm going to read my poem, Cursive Handwriting, which is on page 267. Cursive Handwriting. I open up my mother's slim black address book and linger over her friends' names entered in flawless script, some crossed out with a diagonal line after they passed away. On the inside cover, she listed restaurants to try. Columns of numbers are added in the margins. Even the sums stand elegant. She liked fine stationery and a Mont Blanc ballpoint. I kept a note my mother wrote when my goldfish died. After performing a burial at sea via the toilet, Golda lived a long and good life for a fish, ends the note. It wasn't until she became ill and I had to press her to sign DNR forms and power of attorney papers that she faltered. My mother's signature became ragged, a hurried scroll, and at the very end, just an X. Thank you.
Wonderful, honey. Beautiful poem. Our next reader is, I'm sure I'm just a minute mispronounce this, Kyung Noon Kim Richards from California. You here? Oh yeah, she's here. Kim Richards is a poet, essayist, and translator of Korean literature. She has published 2 volumes of poetry, Small Draws, Thin Lines, and Vision Tests. Her poems have been published in numerous international journals, including the 7th Quarry of Wales, UK, Kritaka, Literaka of Poetry, Convorbia Literary of Romania. Let's welcome Kim Richards, or Kate Richards.
Thank you, Maria, very much. I really, truly feel honored to be in the company of all these wonderful poets. I feel elevated somehow. My spirit is elevated. Thank you so much. And by the way, I love the cover of this volume that Maria did. I think I checked the artist for the cover, and you must have done it. And I thought, how much talent one person can have. And it's really wonderful. I love to have a copy of the work for my wall. And yeah, thank you. My poem is very simple and short, called In the Beginning. In the beginning, there was truth. Along came an untruth and sat down beside her and scared the truth away. Along came another untruth and sat down beside it and scared the untruth away. Along came another untruth and sat down beside it and scared the new untruth away. Another, 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 another. Ad infinitum. Untruth scared all of them away. Repeat this again and again, and you will have a song unending with untruth. Thank you.
Wonderful. Okay, thank you. Our next reader is Danny Romero. Is he out here? Danny Romero?
Yes, I am here.
Okay, honey.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, my computer seems to be
Dennis
freaking.
Romero was born and raised in Los Angeles. He's the author of the novel College 10 and a book of poetry, Traces. He lives in California and teaches at Sacramento City College. Let's welcome Jenny Romero.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you for publishing my poem, and thank you for the Paterson Literary Review. My poem is on page 185, and it's called To Feel More. Beaver Cleaver knows more than his father the day he gives the handyman Andy whiskey from the unlocked cabinet. That's the last thing a man like him needs, says Mr. Cleaver at the dinner table, in suit and tie still. But he looked real sick, Dad, says the beaver, unaware of the voices and tremors, the risk of heart attack and stroke. I don't care, says the father, thinking he knows more than a boy who feels more than he thinks he knows. Thank you very much.
Wonderful, Dan. Thank you. Our next writer is, and I don't know whether he's here or not, Leon Salvatierra. Leon, are you here? Perhaps not. How about Steve Smith? Is Steve Smith there?
I'm here, right here, Maria.
Oh, all right, Steve. Steve earned a BFA at the School of Visual Arts in New York City. Steve's poems have appeared in the Kelsey Review, US 1 Worksheets, the New Jersey Journal of Poetry, the Paterson Literary Review, Nerve Cowboy, Barefoot Muse, as well as the Midwest Prairie Review. Steve resides in Pennington, New Jersey with his wife, Fran. Let's welcome Steve Smith.
Thank you, Maria. I'm honored to be here. My poem is on page 254. It's called A Tank Full of Poetry in memory of Jean Hollander. I want to be in that Chinese restaurant when she pulls a mayonnaise jar full of a clear liquid out of her handbag and asks Kathy if she likes vodka. I want to hear her voice become musical as she reads Byron and Shelley to the class, then declares they had the power to cure all those who suffered from the lack of poetry. I want to see her eyes widen, then smile approvingly as I read my first poem about boxing with my father. I want to be there to hear her explain to Vita that she didn't spend hours before class on Friday preparing notes on Emily Dickinson or William Butler Yeats, but instead fixing her hair and choosing the right outfit and jewelry to wear to class. And lastly, I want to see her sailing into the YWCA parking lot behind the wheel of her boat-like Cadillac Coupe de Ville for Friday's poetry workshop, her tank full of poetry. Thank you.
Wonderful. That's so great. Great description too. Is Matthew Spearing here? Matthew?
Yes, I'm here, Maria. I'm here.
Okay, I gotta find you. Okay, there you are. Hi, Matthew. Matthew Spearing's first, full-length books are Good Work, winner of the 2019 Sinclair Poetry Prize from Evening Street Press. What Focus Is, an Out of Body, winner of the 2004 Blue Stem Poetry Award. He is the author of 5 chapbooks. He's a 10-time Pushcart Prize nominee. Let's welcome Matthew Spearing.
Thank you, Maria. My poem is on page 246. It's called Ways I Might Have Died. My father never told me when I was young and started driving the tractor how a tractor has enough power to those big back wheels that if it is pulling something, say a log in the woods, that something gets hung up and that something gets hung up, becomes immovable, the front of the tractor will ride right on up over the axle and likely crush the driver on the ground. And no one ever warned me when I was in college and worked for an engineer on sewer projects that the gas in sewers can render you unconscious and dead just like that before you can ever begin to get out. So that while I was down in a deep manhole on Richmond Terrace on Staten Island, I might have never come out alive. And I learned through experience that if a tall, thin tree is down between two other trees and the butt end isn't quite detached from the stump, it could take your head off if you cut it through while standing in the wrong place, about a foot to the left of where I was standing when the spring-loaded trunk flew past my head and stopped 8 feet behind me on the quiet ground. I might have died when I was a child and a boy I considered a friend challenged me to a water drinking contest and let me go first. I don't recall how many glasses I drank, but he only drank 2 and declared me the winner, though I felt too ill and stupid to celebrate. I could tell you more ways I might have died, but unless you're as stupid as I was with the water, you get the picture. I'm lucky to still be alive.
Wonderful, Matthew. Thank you. Our next reader is Emily Jane Vandenbos Style, and she served on the Teacher Advisory Board for the first Dodge Poetry Festival and has attended every festival since. She is a founding co-director of the National Seed Project based at the Wellesley College Centers for Women, now in its 35th year. She lives in Carver, Massachusetts. Let's welcome Emily Jane Style.
Thank you, Maria. It is such a treat to be among these poems and this reading and to see the cover painting of your book behind you on the screen and to see your lovely face.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
I'm honored to be in this collection. My poem, the one I'm going to read, is on page 168. And the title is Heavenly Conversation. 6 months after my mother died, I sat across from my father in their living room to say out loud that I was amiably divorcing my longtime husband to live with my longtime lesbian friend. My dad said, "Your mother would never have approved, and you're going to hell." I said, "This is how I think about it, Dad. If you get to heaven before I do, and I never show up, it will be okay. It will be heaven. And if I get to heaven before you do, I promise you, when I show up, I will not say, 'I told you so,' and I wouldn't anyway. It will be heaven."
Wonderful, Emily. Our next reader is Sema Tepper, and I did see her before, I think. Sema, are you here? I know she broke her foot, so maybe she's not here. Okay.
No, she's here, Maria.
She's here. Where is she? Okay, Sema. Let me see if I can find you.
Okay, I'm on.
Oh, here she is. Here she is.
Here I am.
see. Sema's poetry has appeared in Lips, the Paterson Literary Review, first in the Reflector bi-weekly at Jackson High School in Michigan. She holds a BA from Western Michigan University and an MFA in poetry from Drew University. She and her husband, Harold, patient one, he really is, live in West Orange, New Jersey. Let's welcome Sema Sema, who also has the kindest and sweetest personality of any person I've ever known.
Yeah.
Let's welcome Sema.
Oh, Maria, you take my breath away. My poem is on page 110, and it's an honor and a privilege to be among all of you, to be in the PLR. I can't say no more. First doll, soft cloth body, plaster hands and feet and head, blue eyes that open and closed. Daddy said her name was Susabella. I said Susie Bell. I was thinking she doesn't have any hair. In the morning, I climbed out of my crib, took Susie Bell in my arms and whispered, I'm going to give you some of my hair. Tiptoed into the kitchen, opened the everything drawer, found the scissors, sat down on the linoleum, cut my hair. My curls kept falling off Susie Bell's head. Mommy and Daddy woke up to my howls. Mommy picked me up, explained that Susie Bell had a different kind of hair. Let's have French toast for breakfast. Thank you.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, our next poet is Rodney Torreson. Is he here?
She's sick, Maria. She's sick. He's not there.
He's not there? Okay. Wait a second, I have to turn the page. Denise Art. Is Denise up there?
Mm-hmm.
Where? I heard, She here?
I'm here. Okay. I'm very happy to be in Paterson Review, and I'm going to read Sports Car, which
Hey,
is.
let me introduce you. Let me give.
Oh, okay.
I still can't find you. Oh, there you are. She's a poet living in New York City. Her poetry has appeared in the Bellevue Literary Review, Bryden Literary Review, Paterson Literary Review, Forgotten Women Anthology, The Practice of Poetry, Writing Beyond the Basics, as well as other journals. Let's welcome Denise Art.
Thank you. Okay, I'm very happy to be here. And on page 195 is the sports car. Students on a Saturday night after a movie, Michael and I wait for our Coke and burgers at the restaurant drive-in, sitting in his car. Its hood full of red flames, painted flames, a tinge of yellow tipped fingers pointing away but at us. Who on a whim would draw attention like this? Michael, not a wrench in his back pocket, and he wasn't high on his speedometer. Michael was sitting high in his first car, paid half the price by way of a saved allowance. His parents footed the rest. Independence flagged his MG. No other car on the road like it. Ketchup on his burger, mustard on mine. He tapped the bottle, his ketchup fountained, while I spooned my mustard from a jarring, hot-tempered home. After school, I donned a cafeteria dress for my allowance. I coddled a quiet smile and cradled my walk through the school hall so I'd fit in, without my early rough neighborhood years showing. My lamb's wool sweater next best to the cashmere of other girls. I was never a head turner. Hunkered down in Michael's car, hoping no one I knew would see me, and the hood's jagged shag. tacky. To him, maybe a pom-pom cheering his teen years on. While I hung back, a child who never had flames.
Oh, wonderful, Denise. Beautiful. Okay, our next reader is Cindy Beach, and I know I saw her before, is the author of Her Kind from Calvin Carey Press and Gloved Against Blood from Calvin Carey, a finalist for the Paterson Poetry Prize and the Massachusetts Center for the Book Must Read. She is the recipient of the Philip Booth Poetry Prize and co-poetry editor of Mom Egg Review. Let's welcome Cindy Beach. And I know I saw her and I just have to find.
I'm here. Right here, Maria. Thank you,
Oh, all right,
Maria.
dear. I knew I saw you before.
Yeah, I'm here. Thanks, Maria. Thanks everyone for this wonderful reading, your wonderful work. My poem is on page 143. And this poem appears in my new book, Her Kind. The title, Woman Climbs Statue of Liberty in Protest. Teresa Patricia Akumu, convicted of trespassing, 2018. She said, I climbed to protest our nation's zero tolerance immigration policy. She said, I climbed to abolish ICE. They said trespasser. They said disorderly conduct. When she sat on the skirts of Lady Liberty, we watched them climb after her. They said, get down. Our hero said, I'm not discouraged. She made her bed, and we watched and cheered and put a curse on those who wanted to arrest her for protesting, putting children into cages. Oh yes, we witches watched her carry our truth up and over that ledge like a beautiful soothsayer, strong and lithe. Goodbye, dark ages. We climb with her. We climb with her. Thank you.
Wonderful, Cindy. Beautiful poem. Our next reader is Martin Willis Jr. I'm sorry, I'm having enunciation problems. A Constop Review editor, has 25 chapbooks, including the Turtle Island Quarterly's Editor's Choice Award, The Wire Fence Holding Back the World from Flowstone Press in 2017, plus 21 full-length collections, including the Blue Light Award 2019 for the Temporary World. His forthcoming book is Harvest Time, Dear Book Press, 2021, which may already have appeared, I don't know. Martin Willis, let's welcome Martin Willis.
Hi, thank you for having me and including me in the magazine. It's when you see my name, it's usually near the end of any program. I see there are probably about one or two more people after me.
No, there's more.
There's more. Okay. It's very unusual. I'm usually there. My poem is called On My Grandparents' Mennonite Farm. The taskmaster's son reminds me, hard work is next to godliness. I start up the roosters, clang cowbells to open the sun's eyes. I switch on the moon at night. I work between working, ciphering the amount of seed into the furrowed land. I hand plow into submission. No time to contemplate what failure might be, only where to place my hands to soothe the mare struggling to deliver a foal. Sometimes Grandpa forgets lunch. Then Grandma brings a wicker basket of homemade bread, still fresh from the black pot-bellied stove. I smell the flour and butter years after they died. The farm is sold. I can't find where it used to be. After they portioned the area into close-knit housing, some places are just plain lost to us when we get older. Thank you.
Wonderful, Martin. Thank you. Beautiful poem. Let's welcome Marie Gray Wise, who was happy to return to the Paterson Literary Review Her first poems and fiction were published. Her work has already appeared or is forthcoming in Post Road, US 1 Worksheets, I-70 Review, and English Journal. A retired English teacher, she lives in Mount Laurel, New Jersey. Let's welcome Marie Gray Wise.
Thank you, Maria. I just want to chime in with everyone else and say what a great experience this is to be among so many great poets. Okay, my poem's on page 114, and it's called My Grandmother in the 1918 Epidemic. Just turned 20 and newly married, she stands at the window in her camisole or chemise, whatever they wore circa World War I, pulled open to bare her chest to the vital air. She clutches at the sides of the frame as the Chinese company doctor from Stetson's hat factory beats her back with what? A twisted towel, a spiraled sheet? His forceful thumps disturb and dislodge the deadly coating on her lungs. Her long black hair hangs limp around her face as she gasps and coughs while he pounds. He knows how to save her and her family. He knows how to insure us. But 90 miles away in Cape May, her sailor husband of a tiny month succumbs in a deceptively graceful naval tent. And for the rest of her life, through 2 more husbands, she hums songs from the Great War. Thank you.
Wonderful, Marie. Our next poem is Nellie Wong. I'm not sure I see her. Are you here, Nellie? Nellie, here or not? Okay. So then I do still see Bill Wonder. And Bill Wonder is a poet, editor, and the author of 3 volumes of poetry, Pointing at the Moon, Hands Turning the Earth, both published by Word Tech Editions, and Kingdom of Heaven by Aldridge Press. He's widely published and is a past poet laureate of Bucks County, Pennsylvania. So let's welcome Bill Wonder.
I'm here. You hear me?
Yep.
Good. And I just want to thank Maria for all she has done for Poets. I have 2 in this issue, and I'll read the one that's on page 406. Winter on Searsburg Mountain, Vermont. Here, incessant snow erases all color from memory. Wealth is a good pair of boots and dry socks. The freight train's distant whistle, a love song. The chittering of mice, conversation. And the moon's reluctant rise, the only clock. Then on a clear as ice night, the maple sap cracks like gunshots. The skyscape speaks in the language of splendor. And you remember why you're here. One day soon, winter, that light swallower, will grudgingly yield to the wheel of seasons. It will peel off layers of flannel and bathe in voluptuous light. Thank you.
Wonderful, Bill. Thank you very much. You also have a beautiful voice. I'm going to also ask Valerie Drack Weidman, excuse me, to read, but I seem to have lost your just wait a second, Valerie, let me find your bio, which is going to be too small for me to read. Will you tell us some important things about yourself, Valerie?
Sure, Maria. My name is Valerie Drack Weidman. I do the Writers Circle at the Highland Park Public Library and also a poetry series since 2005. I want to thank Maria for all that she's done for the library, and of course, all that she does in Paterson, and for the literary review where we can all share poems, and also for her work in Paterson. I want to dedicate this poem to my husband and son, Richard and Max. The poem is on page 97. It's called In the Big Bang Room. We chose the Big Bang Room from all the others, walking past the looming dinosaurs in the mammoth foyer of the museum, where your grandmother visited in the 1930s, past the 10-foot brown bears standing on the balls of their feet, through the room where the giant squid battles the blue whale year after year. We chose the Big Bang room where the Earth formed 4 billion years ago from rotations of dust, bursting rock, and a gathering of gases. Let's not forget the magnetic fields holding the plates together like love, a network of clashing bodies, some miracle of love, like a mother and son walking through a museum. Tiny creatures crawling out of the sea. What urge led them to land, gasping for air? So much was going on under their forming feet. Each step a forward motion, the air seemed thin, but held a promise. It's all one, the nebulous holds. It's not that you can separate the sequence, you always say. It's as if one large beating heart boomed the Big Bang within us.
Wonderful. That lovely poem. Our next reader is Daniel A. Zenner, and I see him there. And he's a retired New Jersey trial lawyer. His poems and haiku have appeared in the Paterson Literary Review, the Aurora in 5 editions, Frog Pond, and the following Moon's Press journals. Philadelphia Says, Not Our President. Philadelphia Says, Haiku on War and Peace, and Not Our President, Volume 2. Let's welcome Daniel Zenner.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Maria. I'm truly honored to be here and to be included in this edition of PLR and to be among this group of such distinguished poets. I wanted to add my praise of the painting that you used as the cover. It's just a beautiful painting. Just reminded me of,
you see it? Oh no, you probably can't see it because I think I'm on the phone.
I can see it behind you.
Yeah.
I'd love to see the original. It's just a beautiful painting.
Thank you, dear.
My poem is on page 77. It's called Scattered. My wife scrubs moss and mold off the black granite tombstone, marking the graves of her parents, a task long postponed, the stone in place for 38 years. High white billowing clouds fill the summer sky, the grassy field sloping down from the road to the trees at the borders, the granite now sparkling in the sunlight. An American flag stands by the side of the stone above her father, the work of an unknown veterans group, recognizing his service, leading to his death 30 years later, her mother succumbing 5 years thereafter. My wife reminisces about, excuse me. My wife reminisces about her years with them, her siblings, the birth of her son a few months after her father's demise. We walk by the graves of her relatives on the way to the road. Last week, we wrote out instructions to her son to cremate our remains, hold the ashes until the survivor of us dies, then scatter them together above the beach of a cove on the ocean. There will be no moss or mold for him to scrub.
That's a wonderful poem. And I have to tell you that my little Italian mother actually bought a mausoleum drawer for my father and for herself, because she was afraid that we wouldn't take care of her grave and it was to be embarrassing for her and my father long after they died. And she was probably right, you know, but anyway, she certainly didn't have much confidence in our keeping up her grave. And I never visit the mausoleum because my mother, who loved the earth and loved planting and growing things, I can't bear the thought of her being in that sterile drawer stuck there. I can't stand it. Anyway, I was really pleased with the reading the wonderful poems in PLR. And if I missed anybody, would you wave at me right now and let me know that I've missed you and I didn't call on you when I should have? Anybody? Well, I'm very pleased. It's always such fun for me to hear the poems read out loud by the poet. As an editor, you pick poems and they speak to you in one way or another. And then when you hear them read by the poet, it becomes a whole different thing and even more alive and more important. So I do love the poems. Not to be conceited, but I choose every one of the poems myself. And I do love this kind of poetry. I love poetry that tells stories, poetry that's honest and direct, poetry that's willing to take a risk. And all of these poems were willing to do that. Thank you so much for your work. I hope you continue to send work to PLR and send work to the Allen Ginsberg Awards. And I hope to see you at the Poetry Center sometime soon. Our next reading in the Distinguished Poetry Series is going to be Martin Espada, who just won the National Book Award for his book Floaters. And he's going to read for us on the first Saturday in December on Zoom, of course. We were hoping to have it in person, but we're not allowed. So hopefully next year we'll be able to have some in-person programming. Meanwhile, I hope you come to the Martin Espada reading. His book is really amazing, and he's a wonderful reader. Thank you all, and let's give everybody another round of applause. I don't know if you can hear me, but we can sort of hold our hands up and give a round of applause. Thank you all for writing such beautiful work, for being so brave and honest and absolutely wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria.
Is that your baby, Gina? Is that your little?
Yes, it's my baby, my little guy. You say hi, say hi. Hi.
Hi, honey.
Hi.
Thank you so much, Maria.
Wonderful voice.
It's on the wrong side. No, they're fine. They're on the right side.
Yeah, we're okay. Everything's fine.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you, everybody else.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Hey.
Okay.
Ciao.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
Maria.
Bye.
Love you.
Bye. Ciao.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Happy
Maria.
Thanksgiving.
Okay, thanks.
Happy Thanksgiving. Bye-bye.
What's that sound? Oh, I'm echoing.